Hey, and welcome to, wow, my hair looks insane. And welcome to the Vergecast for the week of, what just happened? For the week of September 24th, 2012. I'm Josh Topolsky.
I'm Nilay Patel.
Yeah.
I'm Ross Miller.
Yeah. And sorry, can we get that shot back up? I just need to fix whatever's going on. This is what happens when I put nothing in my hair. It's just like some Falcon Crest type stuff happening. Some Dallas 1982. What's this little guy doing over there? See, which way is he supposed to go?
Yeah.
Can I get a hair person in here? That looks a lot better.
Yeah.
Are we ready?
Yeah, we're ready.
Okay, let's do this.
Falcon Crest engaged.
So are we going to get Dieter?
Who else,
is that
who
gonna
else
happen?
is on the line?
We're working on it.
How are you working
All right,
on
Dieter,
okay.
Dieter Bohn is going to be joining us. Anyhow, this is the Vergecast where we discuss the week in technology culture, sex culture,
Ooh.
We can do that.
science culture, art culture, and fungi
Yeah.
cultures, fungal cultures.
Gross.
That sounds really sick.
It does.
This wing is amazing. I got this little wing right here. Look at
Yeah,
that.
it's good. It's
like
it's
I
T-slope.
don't know. I may take off. I may stay on the ground.
Yeah.
There's no telling.
Does it help you fly through the air or cut through the water?
Both. Yeah. I think you know. I think you know the answer to that. Anyhow, big interesting week of news.
Yeah. So we should start with news that literally just broke
Breaking news.
moments ago.
Breaking.
Yes. Unfortunately, it's about RIM.
Break exclusive. RIM earnings.
RIM earnings.
Earnings not as bad as predicted.
Right. So they
That's,
lost.
by the way, I think something you want to
Yeah.
sit down.
You're proud of.
You want to sit down at the board and say, listen, it's not as bad as we thought it was going to be.
No,
yeah.
like we did better than last quarter. We
That's right.
sucked a little less.
That's right.
So they lost $235 million, which is still an enormous amount of money.
Not that much.
Well, it's better than last quarter when they lost over $500 million.
Tim Cook loses that in the cushions, couch
yeah.
cushions.
So last quarter they lost over $500 million. This quarter they lost 235. They shipped 7.4 million phones and 130,000 playbooks. The fact that they're still shipping playbooks is kind of amazing.
Shipped
to
or
me.
sold?
Shipped.
They shipped 7.4 million, but we don't have sales numbers.
No.
And they shipped 130,000 playbooks.
And I imagine it's single-digit sales.
Right.
Single digit?
Single digit.
I think they probably sold.
There's no way.
I
they're
bet they
selling
sold
playbooks.
like. I bet they sold like.
When did the playbook came out? Like over a year ago. At this point.
They probably sold like 25,000, 30,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those poor bastards.
I just who's buying that thing?
I had a guy. There was a guy on one of our reviews on YouTube, and he was like, or he emailed me. I don't know what it was, but he was like violently angry that I said that the playbook was not good, and that like he like was freaking out about how good it was and how stupid I was that I didn't recognize the greatness of the playbook. Is this wing distracting for any of the viewers at home?
So
Just
Dieter, does Josh have to push a
I'm
button? Hey, Ben.
Dieter.
Dieter,
So we're talking BlackBerry. So
Bone Zone.
here's the reason we want Dieter here is Dieter spent the week, unfortunately,
At the jam.
the BlackBerry Jam,
Jamming.
which
You spent the week jamming, Dieter.
was a rah-rah event for BlackBerry. They announced, again, BlackBerry 10, their new operating system.
Well, they showed off a little bit more.
They showed off a little bit more. They showed off the BlackBerry Dev Alpha B, which is a great name.
They're making a new mobile computing platform.
And RIM CEO Thorsten Hines said, we have a clear shot at being number 3,
At least he's realistic.
which is really aiming for the heavens.
By the way, this is exactly what HP said about
yeah.
WebOS in
Yeah,
tablets.
they're all saying we can. No, HP said we can be number 2 in tablets.
Oh, that's right. HP said we could be number 2.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. Predicting what number you'll land at is the new doubling down. You know, like I think that's we're not doubling down on RIM,
Yeah,
but we think we have a number where we can be positioned.
and that number is 3.
Well, I mean, there's no denying you have
The
to
crazy
be.
thing about number
Go ahead.
the crazy thing about number 3 is, isn't that kind of where they're at right now? They're just basically saying they're not going to lose any more than they already have.
Right. So, Dieter, you were there. Tell us about what you saw. Tell us about BlackBerry 10 and kind of the mood. And also tell us about this music video.
Tell us about the music video. Were you?
Can we talk all about the music
I don't want to start with the music video, but were
it's-
you in a room when they played the music video with like other people there?
I was, yes. I was there in the keynote when they played it. And I got to say, and this is in the report that we just put up, that music video killed. Everybody loved it. They thought
no,
it was great.
I understand. Here's the thing that I think. Here's the thing that a lot of people think that we didn't understand is that that RIM thought it was funny, like it was meant to be funny.
Right.
Yeah.
I get that, but like, you know how people can tell a joke and the joke doesn't make you laugh? Like that's how that video felt to me.
Yeah.
It was like you told an unfunny joke, and we're laughing at you now, not with you.
But we're going to play the video.
Sorry, we are going to play the video.
Let's talk about the news there.
Talk about the jam.
Okay, so BlackBerry 10, they unveiled another piece of it, and RIM's in this really tough spot where they can't officially announce it because they don't want to have 3, 4, 5 months between the announcement and the actual release, but they need to show enough for developers to actually make apps for this thing. And so what they've done is they showed the core UI, and it's basically 3 home screens. On the main home screen is your multitasking, so it's little windows of the apps that you have running. You can have up to 8 of them. And on the right-hand side of the home screen are all your apps. It looks just like an iPhone, except the icons are square, and you can move them around manually and put them in folders and whatever.
Square.
But the main deal with BlackBerry 10 is this thing that they call the BlackBerry Hub. So anywhere in the OS, you can swipe up and then to the right to peek at your messaging. And it combines all of your email and your Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and notifications. So it's kind of like a combined notification area and email client.
Wait, Dieter, is it swipe up and to the right as in like a 2-step process, or like just to the corner?
They mean it to be like a single process. The way they described it is it's like looking at your watch. You just kind of make an L shape. But on the units that I've tried,
how are they checking the time?
I have to say I use this.
Can I see that phone for a second?
I use this interface, and it's like the motion is like it's like this. It's like an upside down L.
Okay. So I'm playing Street Fighter whenever I want to do my message.
I mean, it's kind of a weird. Dieter, I think
in
we're
which
talking about
way
the same
is this
thing.
like checking
Dieter,
your watch?
you're talking about the thing that like zooms out the app,
man.
right? It like zooms out what you're in, and then
beta, it had it.
Yeah,
and the original beta was on the right, and you could swipe to the right from any screen. But they've taken a bunch of stuff from Windows 8 and also from WebOS. So now you pull in panels from the left and the right. So they had to make this gesture from the bottom. And I hopefully they're going to tweak it so you can just kind of do it at an angle. But for now, it's a little bit awkward. But
it's like a very precise.
They can get it right, it's pretty convenient.
It's a precise move. I mean, it's not.
Is it convenient? Because I don't want my Twitter mentions in with my email, like my work email. I actually use different
you mean
apps.
the unified?
Yeah.
Well, they refer to that as notifications. Yeah. Like the unified inbox is like what they take in place of notifications.
Yeah.
Like basically, like the idea is that you'll glance at. You'll like kind of peek at this, like, you're working on something, you go, oh, what's going on here? And then you go back to it. And if you want, you can like take action on that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not completely dissimilar from what, say, Android does, which is where it has a bunch of your notifications, and then you can like select one to take action on it.
Yeah.
But they're using their unified inbox motif for it.
You know,
I mean, and it is an inbox.
Right.
Yeah, I did actually talk to their head of like social communities, a guy named T.A. McCann. And he actually got hired from a startup called Gist that they bought. And so they've got big plans to actually add like proper filtering to the BlackBerry Hub so that I can say, stick all my Twitter mentions and Facebook mentions in this unified inbox and have my actual work email that I care about in this thing and have a priority here. But that's not going to be there, at launch. That's something that they're thinking about in the future. They'll use that technology from Gist to build into the BlackBerry Hub.
Yeah, it struck me when I used it as being very... And Dieter, I'm actually curious to know, because you played with it, right?
Yeah.
Did it feel confusing to you at all?
It's not as dead simple as iOS by any stretch. It's a little bit confusing. And so, like, if you're a power user and, like, they're targeting this at hardcore BlackBerry users, once you get it, it's pretty fine. But it's definitely not like you pick it up at a store and you know exactly what's going on and you have a sense of place right away. You kind of need to spend some time with it to sort of, get in a rhythm and, start multitasking quickly and whatever. But it's definitely not like you don't pick it up and go, oh my God, this is amazing. I totally want to have this.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, and the design, I also felt like the design of it is super uninspiring.
Yeah. Well,
like it looks like a weird mishmash of like iOS and Android and old BlackBerry. And it's just like kind of ugly. I mean,
Yeah, these square
forgive me
icons are
for
really bad.
saying this, but it seems to lack like any significant
What happened
feel
to the
of design.
The TAT guys.
The
astonishing tribe
TAT
Like,
guys
where
don't seem to have much have had much input on this. Like maybe they felt like what they were doing was too playful or too cartoony or something, because they do kind of deal with a lot of more cartoony looking stuff. I just feel like it looks like, we've seen those phones that sometimes show up on eBay. They're like the iPhones that are like the prototype test iPhones, and they have like the like really ugly skin of like radio test, and that's kind of how this looks to me. It kind of looks like one of those weird prototypes where I don't know. It definitely looks like it's in beta.
Which is to say, they could update the iconography.
Yeah,
they have months
no,
to go.
They could revamp this, but when I met with them a couple of months ago, and they showed me some of this, and that meeting was really like just a preview of what they were doing. Mm-hmm. They were talking about it like this was like the final, like this was what it was going to look like.
Did they talk about TAT's involvement at that point? Did they say anything?
No, I mean, once a company gets acquired, they kind of like disappear.
They got sucked.
So,
into
Dieter, So this was like an event that was designed to like pull in app developers, get people excited. Was that actually happening? I mean, like for me, the narrative with RIM is like they're slowly fading away. Like we get emails from companies all the time that are like, we're figuring out how to help organizations get away from BlackBerry and onto the iPhone because there's a huge demand for that.
Yeah.
And they don't have the apps. The super apps did not materialize. What was the mood of developers there? I mean, like what was the vibe?
So the crazy thing is the vibe was sort of like, I think I described it like muted optimism. I mean, the thing you need to remember, they only had 1,500 people register, but I mean, that's sort of what they were targeting, so like 1,200. They hold a bunch of these events, so it's not like it's Google I/O or WWDC where it's one massive developer event. So you can't knock them too hard for not having a ton of people there. But I was talking to Kevin Mitchell from crackberry.com, and his take was basically like, when we went to BlackBerry DevCon a year ago, there was a ton of angry people there. And basically all those developers are gone. So the only people that were there were people that believed in the platform already. So it's sort of like there wasn't a whole lot of like, oh, I'm really unhappy. This seems like really troubling. What's going to happen? It was like, I'm here because I believe in the platform and I'm going to take a shot at it.
That's
interesting. And so it was, everybody was sort of on the same page.
And
just want a ton of.
And so, what's your overall takeaway here? I mean, they just had earnings, and they're obviously not doing, they're not doing that well. They say Q1 for the launch of these new devices and new OS, right? And when I spoke to Torsten Heinz, he said he thought they would have 100,000 apps at launch, and I don't know if he repeated that on stage or not. But he basically was like,
they've got 100,000 apps now for BlackBerry 7. If they're going to hit that number.
Yeah, but those are.
I mean,
those are not. They're not just They're not just doing ports of those. I mean, it's not just like you can take that app and throw it on here, right?
That would be a disaster.
Right. No, you can't. Yeah. Those don't cross over at all. But they've got a really good web platform. It's actually like a better integrated HTML5 development experience than pretty much anybody else.
Yeah.
But not that guarantees success. But it could guarantee that they're going to get a bunch of easy web apps ported onto the platform really quickly.
Yeah, that'll compete.
Yeah, web apps have been historically a big,
as Facebook says, HTML5 was a 2-year waste for us.
A big driver.
Yeah.
I don't think HTML5 is a waste. I think Facebook tried something very, very ambitious, and it just didn't work for them for the size of their platform.
Speaking of Facebook, that's one of the really interesting things. They're going to have Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Foursquare at launch, and RIM is developing the Facebook apps themselves, although they talk about collaborating really, really closely with Facebook. And it's actually totally insane because the Facebook app on BlackBerry 10 looks and acts identically to the iOS app.
Of course.
Down to they're not even using the BlackBerry standards of having the navigation stuff at the bottom. They've taken the iOS look and feel of the Facebook app down to the pixel, and they've moved it over to BlackBerry 10.
Really? Huh. That's odd.
Yeah.
Well, I guess maybe that's a good sign for porting. I don't know.
Maybe, but at the same time, it's so wait, RIM made it themselves. This is not Facebook doing it.
Yeah.
So whenever Facebook adds a feature, this thing's going to get broken.
Well, I don't think it's
just not going to
I
happen.
mean, I hit them pretty hard on that, and they basically said that they talk to them once a week, and that they're
hey guys, you're still working on this app.
Hold on,
it's a copy of your other app.
Dieter, didn't RIM also do the Twitter app. I mean, didn't they make the Twitter app?
No, there's a long history
for BlackBerry.
They made the and they did the one for the playbook too. They did some apps. There's a long history here of these companies that come in to try to be number 3, building their own apps.
This is what HP did with Facebook on the
touchpad.
Touchpad. I was like,
and it's everyone says Microsoft is doing it for Windows Phone.
Right.
They're either building it themselves or they're paying the developers.
Yeah.
And it's like this is how you like stoke up your ecosystem.
Right.
But it's also like it's never worked.
Well, I think it's like
when has that ever worked?
Well, I think if you don't have actual buy-in from developers and from major players in the app world and in the services world, that's a problem. Right? Like if you can't get if Facebook isn't fired up enough about your platform to go like we want to build something for it, that is a pretty bad signal.
It's an enormous problem.
Yeah.
And those are you got table stakes for Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. LinkedIn especially for BlackBerry.
Right. And what's weird to me is that they claim that like the majority of mobile Facebook traffic, I think, is this what they say at RIM, that the majority of that traffic comes from BlackBerry devices, Dieter?
Yeah, and they gave me the number of how many tens of millions it was, and I forget. I mean, the thing that they're really bullish on is they've got this BBM integration, so they can like virally spread app installs. But since they're so strong in like Indonesia and Latin America and India, they think that they are pushing Twitter and Facebook use in those countries because they're buying these cheap BlackBerries to use for BBM, and then all of a sudden they turn into Facebook users.
I'm just reminded of. Have you seen this? A little bit tangential, but not totally. Do you know this Twitter account? It's Goldman Sachs Elevator.
Yes.
Have you read it?
I love that thing so much.
I just got turned on to it. I didn't know it existed. Somehow it escaped. But there was a conversation, supposedly, or a conversation somebody had sent or sold that was like, it's time to sell. Like we got to sell, get rid of Apple.
Yeah.
Because these developing markets like can't afford iPhone 5s. They're putting a lot of emphasis on China. And like I was just thinking like, it is a completely different value proposition.
Yeah.
When you're looking at like as Dieter was talking about like Indonesia or China or India and talking about like that's where their market is. Like that is where RIM's market is right now. I mean they're basically like that's the growth market is developing. And developed is trending the opposite direction.
Completely the opposite.
So it's like, how do they continue to compete with the Halo brands and the Halo devices? I'll
tell you what, they reiterated something that they said the last time that Torsten Heinz got up on stage and answered questions. They're planning on supporting and I think selling BlackBerry 7 devices, the old devices, for another 2 years.
Yeah, I mean. I mean, Chris wrote a great report on this, which is like, RIM and Windows Phone are battling out for number 3. Is there a place for 4? And like, I actually am wondering, is there a place for 3 at this point? I mean, people's appetites for this stuff. We've talked about this a bunch of times, but it's like Mac PC and then Linux, like way over here with like what 0.2%. Like, what's the percentage of actual Linux users? Because that's the third computing platform, right?
Well, it's in the enterprise. It's way high, right? I mean,
but you're talking about like.
You're saying about consumer
like,
users.
I'm saying consumer.
Yeah, zero.
Right?
It's zero.
I understand that enterprise, they've got a shot. And
maybe
that's all they need.
I mean, Linux runs the internet, right?
No, not Linux. I mean RIM has a shot in enterprise because they already have occupied. Though, like,
no, the enterprise is going to iPhone.
It seems like enterprise is moving to Apple pretty quickly. Yeah. And it seems like they're also moving to Apple for iPads for like things that are happening in the workplace that they need like essentially a thin client for that's cheap and like easy to deploy on.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think Microsoft has a big opportunity there.
Yeah, I think so too. But it's like
they all run Exchange.
Like, we think it's an opportunity, but we haven't seen it.
Right. I mean, that's where it would be.
RIM's big argument there is they're going to basically maintain feature parity with BB7, and they can do all this like really hardcore management of the devices. And they've got this feature called BlackBerry Balance, where you go to the icon screen, and it's this really ridiculous interface. So you swipe down on a blank spot, and then you can switch from personal mode to work mode.
So wait, you always need a blank spot?
Launch one of your, I guess, which is strange. Maybe you could drag down on an icon. I think it has to be in a blank spot. Anyway, you launch a work app, and then it shows up in your multitasking thing with a little briefcase on it. And so you can have like hardcore lockdown work apps that you can't, copy and paste from, running next to your crazy open, web browser and Twitter client, whatever else that you got on the personal side.
It sounds like fun. Sounds like a fluid computer. Look, they're creating a new mobile platform. Can we talk about the video? Can we talk about the music video?
We should just talk about the video.
Can we run the video? Do we have? What was that?
That was.
Oh yeah, Dieter, we're running the video now. Do we have audio on this?
Here it
Okay,
comes.
good.
Well,
Let's just jam on this for a second.
this is like an actual RIM VP.
Yeah, it's Alexander's VP Developer Relations, and everyone else behind him is also RIM executives. We asked him. This is actually his voice. A little bit of auto-tune, but
See,
he's
He's lip syncing. I
is he?
confirmed that he's lip syncing.
I thought we
Okay.
confirmed he's actually his voice.
I mean,
No.
Oh, never mind.
see, like they're not. See, here's the thing. Like, this is the problem with the joke. They're not making fun of themselves. They're like trying to sell themselves and go like, but we're making fun of ourselves. But like, that's actually not
Thumbs
happening.
up.
Hold on, you're missing the chorus.
Okay.
Don't
No,
talk over
no,
the
no,
chorus.
wait.
Shut up.
I think
Chorus
there's a
isn't
lot more
here.
Oh,
verse.
wait, there's another verse?
Yes. They really go on here.
God. Foreigner, man.
Like, you can say whatever you want. You can tweet at me about how I didn't get the joke, but this is not actually funny. It's cringe.
This is laugh at them.
Their
not laugh
updated
with them.
SDK is really cool.
No, I know that's supposed to be tongue in cheek, but it's actually not because they're still trying to like big up themselves about being RIM. Oh boy, here we go. I think.
Can we
I
put
think
this
there's a
up?
pre-chorus right now.
No, here we go. I've seen this like a dozen times now.
Oh boy.
Why?
Oh boy.
Okay, let's turn up the chorus.
Can we get a volume on this?
We're missing some guitar licks.
Dude, the guy's been jumping from like the F chord to the C chord over and over
Yeah.
again. I can't help but
But there's
stare
a...
at the guitars.
Oh, nice.
The API is complete.
Oh, is he going to solo without being plugged in?
Yep.
Yeah.
Just that one note. Just
I mean,
goes
I would have
straight
taken the time and energy they put into this and worked on like making their UI look attractive.
by a developer.
I mean, seriously, like you don't see like companies like Apple or even Google doing this
Microsoft
kind of
does
stuff.
this left and right.
Microsoft
Yeah.
does this stuff, but like,
And Google,
I
I think Google does it and keeps it hidden better.
I don't think Google does this. I've never seen Google do one of these. Maybe they have.
Imagine
Can you imagine Apple doing this?
you're a BlackBerry developer.
Apple used to do this.
Yeah.
Imagine you're a
All
BlackBerry
the
developer
companies.
and how broken you must be right now. Just how hard life must be if you're a BlackBerry developer.
Well, you don't have to be a BlackBerry developer.
This video is like, well,
no one's holding a gun. No one's holding a gun to your head.
They're trying to be hip and cool by copying an 80s.
I mean, I don't think they're trying to be hip and cool. I think they thought like we're gonna poke fun at ourselves, but like in the midst of poking fun at themselves, they also are like trying to like talk about how cool RIM is and how great their new platform is, and also like there's nothing about this that's funny. It's just not. It's just when like there's something that's funny and then there isn't something that's funny.
I mean, I will say like
this is the latter.
I mean, they do look relatively hollow in the eyes. Like they're not looking at anyone.
I can't wait for the next karaoke night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we get the
We're
backing
busting
track? Can we get the lyrics for this?
Well,
Anyhow,
we've really run a lot of
I think
this.
we've seen enough of this. We really have to move on. We've talked about RIM for like 30 minutes now, and there really isn't that much to say. They don't have any products.
Yeah.
Right.
Their products are coming in like five months.
January, February, something like that?
Yeah, January or February, which is like it's September. It's the end of September, so October, November, December, January, or I mean, it's literally like almost 6 months away from them launching anything.
Yeah.
So this is all kind of just them hoping to remain somewhat relevant in the interim.
It's a race between RIM and Nokia.
I mean,
to
can
see
I just
who
say,
will succeed and
Can
who
I just say,
will
like,
die.
my patience for
It's true.
My patience for caring about RIM is like, I hope they succeed and make great products, but also like you guys. 4 years ago, you should have seen the writing on the wall, and 3 years ago, you should have seen the writing on the wall, and blah blah blah. Like you kept releasing like your iterations. Like, how am I supposed to feel like excited about RIM as a company with vision when it's shown that it does not have vision? Like, it got blindsided.
Yep.
And it was like, we don't know what to do. We'll just keep on keeping on.
Yeah.
And
You know,
I mean,
when
they're
their CEO was like on stage 2 years ago, literally saying like, we can't build a competitive device until we have dual core CPUs.
Yeah.
Which is like completely like, what company do you work for?
Can we remember like their response? Their answer to the iPhone was the storm.
You know,
Giant
they're-
yeah, the storm, and then later their answer was,
It's
well,
the
you don't.
torch.
And then later, their answer was, you don't need a smartphone to do all that stuff because that's what we made the playbook for.
Yeah.
It's just
The playbook
like,
that doesn't
whatever.
have
Your
email.
strategy blows. Like you haven't done anything that seems remotely with it in like 5 years.
Yeah.
So it's hard to get excited.
And then you top it off with a Foreigner cover.
It's also hard. Yes.
Wait.
Again.
Isn't that REO Speedwagon?
Is that Foreigner? It's Foreigner.
REO Speedwagon.
REO Speedwagon. Yeah.
Really?
Nice job on spotting horrible music. But it's like,
man,
I just don't know
what did
why I
Foreigner
don't know
do?
why I'm supposed to be excited. And I tell you what I really don't get excited about is when
Foreigner's still on tour.
Is when they talk about their enterprise
They're gonna be in
strategy.
Pennsylvania soon.
Anyhow, let's move on.
I want to know what Love is Foreigner, just in case you're wondering.
I knew you were. I knew where you were going with that. Okay. next topic.
Next topic.
The iPhone. Let's talk about the iPhone for a minute.
Let's just get it out of the way.
By the way, this iPhone is now scuffing.
Is it really?
So that's
It has
one-
like it has. I don't know if you can. No, this is not going to work. But
Yeah. There's a big chunk.
there's
out
a
of the side
scuff
of it.
right here on the edge.
Is
If
it
you
just
could zoom
for,
in
like,
on
being
it.
in your pocket?
Doesn't matter. Just take my word for it.
Yeah.
You can see it right there. Do you see that? There's little marks. Look on the corner. It's
Yeah.
not. They're not shiny. They're actual.
So the iPhone.
whatever.
So Apple announced on Monday they sold 5 million.
They sold 5 million,
which is interesting because it's actually they added more countries, so it's actually flat compared.
So last
per
year-
country,
last
if you
year
look
was-
at it that way.
I think-
Business Insider had a chart that I thought was interesting.
Their year-over-year
year-over-year
growth.
growth.
Their year-over-year growth has like.
So we don't know if that's only because they couldn't make any more. That's
Right.
the big what it like.
I mean, let's not forget
Why-
they had
here's
Sharp,
my-
they had issues with Sharp on making the screen
Yeah.
too. So there
Yeah.
could be a supply issue.
Could be.
But yeah, so 4S.
I feel like it's steep for a supply. Maybe that's why it's steep, is that it is a supply issue.
so it's like the 4S was what 4 million, 7 countries. This
Yep.
was 5 million in 9 countries.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever the other 2 countries were. So it does not. It's impressive. It's still record breaking.
Yeah.
We just don't know to what extent it could have been, or if it really is a decline. in
Yeah, I've
momentum.
seen a lot of like. So first off, analysts like people were like basing stuff on Gene Munster's like analysis of what they would sell.
That's ridiculous.
I mean, Gene Munster. I just want to remind you all.
Mr. Apple TV.
I want to remind you, the world. Gene Munster has been saying for like seriously 10 years that at Apple's next event they're going to launch a television. Okay, he's been saying that like
Nonstop.
over and over again and wrong over and over again.
He may be right one day.
I mean, I
One
don't know.
day.
I don't know what his use is. He seems to just like say really hopeful things about Apple, and he's been like,
Yeah.
And some of those things have matched up, so people give him. Anyhow, I mean, as always, and we've said this, when it comes to particularly like financial analysts who are just making stuff up as they go,
Right.
and they're they deal. And by the way, it got very warm in here, so if we can put the air on, they deal in like the financial industry is motivated, not completely, but largely by things like fear and doubt.
Right.
Like, so, when you think about listening to what those people have to say, you have to remember that their motivators are like, will people be worried will they be concerned about scarcity, therefore we can make a bunch of money off of that fear, or stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to take Gene Munster seriously ever.
Yeah.
When you
Right.
couple like the fact that he's a financial analyst plus someday Gene Munster and I are going to have like a fist fight.
Yeah.
We're going to be at a Wall Street bar
You
together.
probably won't be the first journalist, to be honest.
Probably not. I mean, I don't think Gene
Well,
Munster
so
fights.
let's be clear. Like, we can't say like these are still impressive sales figures, even if it's a
They sold a
decline.
lot of phones.
The sales are
It's a lot.
The sales are huge, but I also don't think we forget about the projections.
Right.
I think looking at the hard numbers is the thing that's interesting, which is like, here's the sales from previous years, here's how many countries they were in, and here's what they sold, whether it was supply chain or waning interest or whatever we think like could be the culprit. I think that's an interesting number to look at.
Yeah.
But I think that what Gene Munster said versus what happened in reality, it's like, well, that like day to day, what Gene Munster says,
Well-
what happens in reality are two different things.
And that,
So-
that's what they announced on Monday. I will say that here in New York, you can't just walk into a store yet and buy one.
You can't? Are you
No.
sure about that?
Yeah, you've got to reserve.
Weren't you telling me that the AT&T stores had tons of white?
No,
I think the
they
AT&T
have-
stores might have them.
Right. If you go to the carriers, they have a few, but it's always like the white model, which everyone
Yeah,
seems
it's always
to be
like a
very
white
down on.
64. Nobody wants that.
Right.
I would just my guess is that the white 64 gig iPhone is probably the slowest.
It's weird how
seller.
the white it's completely reversed.
Yeah,
I think
the black looks amazing.
I think the new white one is really.
So there's that. There's the sales. I think we're gonna see. I think they're gonna sell a lot of iPhones.
I mean, what'll be interesting will be the holiday quarter. We can compare holiday quarters once we get those.
I think they have a couple of
And
challenges.
they have earnings coming up soon, but there won't be any numbers.
I think they have a couple of challenges right now. I think that the maps thing, which at this point there are some elements of it that have been blown out of proportion.
Yeah.
But I think that I'll be honest with you. I have to say, I have a moment of panic when I think I got to find something on the map.
Dieter, are you still on the line? Dieter might have hung up.
Did we lose
Dieter?
Dieter?
Got lost today because of iOS 6.
Really?
Did he really?
He was
What
going.
happened?
He was going to an event and he got put in a cul-de-sac following the turn by turn. And he was
Wait.
like,
Was it
lost in the
Dieter? 'Cause
suburbs.
David Pogue wrote the
David
exact
Pogue.
same
And it was
story.
funny because Dieter tweeted, "I just got pogued by iOS."
Yeah.
6 now."
So what's real is that for human beings in the world,
By the way, Dieter lives in San Francisco, which you would think would be
they
the-
have covered.
They
They're like, we
figured
got
out San
they're like,
Francisco. Yeah.
Tim Cook is like, how are we doing on the maps? They're like, well, China's not great, but
Yeah. San
yeah,
Francisco.
actually, people are saying China. They have more information.
They're saying
than
China's
China.
better
They're saying
than
China's
Apple
better.
than Google.
Well,
Because-
like
in fact, because the
Glasgow.
government is
Glasgow is
Chinese-
not perfect.
The Chinese government is like, here's
Yeah,
all
they're
of the data.
Here's the data.
Here's where everyone is right
we've,
now.
We've illegally, not illegally, because they do whatever they
Make
want.
the laws.
Right.
Here's the data we got. We're doing whatever we wanted to do. But that's a real thing. I mean, people are like freaked out about it, and I have to say, like, there's been an op-ed piece in the Times, like a scathing op-ed piece.
David Pogue was super mad.
David
in
Pogue
the New
wrote
York Times.
something. Today there is a piece in the Wall Street Journal.
You're
Traditionally,
talking the Apple TV one.
Yeah, the Apple TV one. Traditionally, the Wall Street Journal has been a big kind of like thumbs upping on Apple. They've worked together in the past. Walt Mossberg obviously has had a very close relationship with the company, and it was a scathing. It was like the Apple TV could be Apple's undoing, and I think that resonates into the market, and I think that people are like. You know how people are. They're like, I heard the maps are messed up. I mean, I've heard people have said that to me. They're like, what's up with the maps? They're really bad, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's what people are taking away from it. It's with like AntennaGate.
Yeah.
But the difference is, this is real.
Yeah.
AntennaGate was like, maybe it's happening and maybe it isn't. Maybe you're like dropping bars. But like a lot of people weren't dropping bars. Like a lot of people weren't like, what's happening? But the maps thing is like the stuff really isn't there, or it's really in the wrong place.
And I would
it's in
argue-
the wrong place for everybody.
And it's verifiable. Like everybody can just go
verifiable.
look at it. Right?
It's a thing.
Yeah, you have visual elements, and like maps is like a common thing. Like I wish I had the data here, but it's like people do messaging, they check their email, they look for directions.
Yeah.
You're taking a basic, right that people get from a cell phone. Why do you get a smartphone? You get it to find where you're going.
Yeah, and I use that a lot. I actually didn't think about. I mean, I knew that it would be an issue, and I say in my review, my iPhone 5 review, by the way, which is up on the site right now, and if you haven't read it, I highly suggest you do. iPhone 5 review by Josh Topolsky.
I don't think you get SEO by just saying that.
iPhone 5 review.
Best iPhone 5 review.
Best
on sale
iPhone
now.
5. iPhone 5.
Lowest prices.
Best release date.
Best
price,
iPhone 5 cases.
details. Best iPhone 5 case. Verge.com / iPhone 5 review best iPhone 5 case Justin Bieber.
Damn it, you forgot the dashes.
Is this working? How's our SEO? Anyhow, but I said the maps are they're not good. There are problems with them, and the subway stuff is like a problem.
Yeah.
But I the more I use it, the more Laura has switched now to an HTC phone.
Yeah.
And now that I'm not using an Android device, like she gets maps out, and I'm like,
Well, so here's the thing. So we
Screw
reported
this.
earlier this week. Scoop the world. I just like saying it.
You're so proud of Chris's work here.
I'm very proud
great.
of Chris's work.
Yeah, Chris
So,
did a great report with some backstory on maps.
backstory on maps. And basically, I mean, Apple and Google had a year or more than a year left on their deal when Apple decided to announce iOS 6 maps in June at WWDC.
Yeah.
And Google was when you have a year left on your contract, Google was taken by surprise that Apple decided to cut it off early and shipped a new product. And that's fine. That's within
A lot of
that makes a lot of
incredulity,
sense.
by the way, on the internet about whether that's true.
It's true.
I know it's true.
I mean, it's
Oh, no,
flatly true. And like the incredulity has now faded away as other people have like gone and done the reporting, and they found out exactly what we know.
Once it's confirmed by the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal, suddenly people start taking you seriously. I love this. I love our world. I love that.
Yeah.
I just love that people can't be sure until the New York Times says it.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't sound as real.
Well, anyway. I think there's an element. I think Google probably should have known it was coming, but they didn't because they had a contract, and that's fine. But what I think happened here, and I think this is the key, is that we keep talking about iOS 6 and how many parts of it seem to have stagnated. And they've done, they changed the menu bars blue in this place. They added VIP mailboxes. The highlight feature of this operating system is the new maps.
Yeah.
It is the first feature.
Passbook, of course.
It is the first feature listed on the iOS. What's new in iOS 6? Maps. Best maps ever, right? And I think they wanted it to be the highlight feature. I think they needed to get it out there. I think they needed to start collecting data. And I think they rushed it out the door. And that is to their detriment. Like, they didn't get it right.
Yeah.
And, Apple's whole history is getting it right. So when they make mistakes that other people would make and not get any crap for, Apple makes that mistake and the whole world jumps down their throat.
Yeah.
Right. Google Maps has problems. When it came out, it was full of problems.
Google Maps has certainly in its earlier forms when they first introduced turn by turn. Definitely took me to some funky locations.
Yeah.
But like the bar has been set, like there's a new minimum, and you've got to basically be at parity.
Right. And,
the
thing about Google,
the bigger problem is the lack of just data about things.
Yeah.
Like it's so weird. You can find like on Google Maps, it truly will just find anything, even if like you don't know the spelling and you have an idea.
Right.
It's like that bar with the skull logo on the sign, and it's like, oh, you mean this bar? And it's like, yeah, that's the bar I meant. Like it's weird how good it is.
And
so it wasn't like they were just going up against like a mediocre competitor.
Right. And the thing about Google is, so the story that I thought was really interesting out of Chris's report was that they told Google we're canceling the Maps contract, and Google freaked out, and they couldn't do anything, so they called their own event. Just to show off how like insane their data collection is, right? Yeah. The next generation of Google Maps and Google Earth, we're flying planes with 3D cameras like at low levels over cities to get better street view in 3D. We're putting people with backpacks like wandering the Earth with cameras.
And don't forget today was underwater street view.
Yeah, they did underwater to announce. I mean, they're saying our data is better. That's what they said when Apple announced Maps in June. Yeah. That's what they're saying now.
It is better.
And it was the smart,
It's a lot better. It's a lot better.
But what they don't have is a way to offer that data to iOS customers yet.
Right.
And I think
this to me is the time that Google should go. If I were Google, what I would do from a marketing perspective.
Yeah.
This is like prime time for switchers.
Yeah.
This is what I would do if I were Google.
And they're marketing the one Motorola phone that way with a fake address.
It's surprising me that Google's not like
they're putting out Motorola ads for the Razr M.
Yeah, but what I would do is like I would emphasize your Maps prowess, and I would do like what Apple did with PCs. Like this is Mac PC all over again, except like in this case, the PC is iOS. I feel like they need to be like, switch. We'll match your apps.
Yeah,
that's what they should do. I mean, that's one of the things. Like if they're like, we'll match your apps, and you get maps.
Yeah,
that work. Yeah. Like I think that's like a strong case. I really do. Like LTE. We got that.
And it's bizarre to me. Like Apple came out. And,
big screens. We got that.
During all the iPhone 5 event stuff, like we heard all these Microsoft rumors. Microsoft kept doing everything they could to keep Windows Phone in kind of like the collective conscious of people talking about other phones. Google's been largely silent. And the flagship is the Galaxy S3, which is months old at this point. It does feel stale comparatively.
Well, not to users.
I think in the next month-ish.
I think Google's going to have new stuff soon.
Yeah.
There's going to be flagship stuff.
I
mean, I've heard a lot of murmurings. We've talked about it here. I haven't had anything solid enough that I felt like was printable. But I think it's highly likely that in the next month or so, Google will have something to say in terms of Nexus devices. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you just look at the history, Galaxy Nexus was a year ago.
Yeah.
October. So do the math. I mean, and the Wall Street Journal published something about them having a bunch of phones. My only hope is Boy Genius ran a rumor that was, which is obviously got to take it with a grain of salt, but that it was going to be a 5-inch HTC device. And like, I just have to say to Google, listen, seriously, we get you can do bigger screens. That's cool. But like, enough's enough. Like, do a normal, like do a 4.3, 4.5 is pushing it.
Yeah.
That's huge. The Galaxy Nexus is 4.7.
Yeah.
It's massive. And the S3 is 4.8.
Yeah.
It's unnecessary. Take it easy. 4.4 inches, I think, feels a little bit small. I actually like a slightly wider phone. In fact, my typing is definitely not as good on this as it is. I have big hands, but like I like a slightly wider phone. I actually think I like a slightly thicker phone too. I know that that's going to be people are going to say that's crazy, but again, like I don't think that thinness is the ultimate like test of whether a phone is good or not. I just think that they've gone. If they do a 5-inch phone, it's going too far. I think you're going to ostracize a part of the market that you need to bring in.
Yeah,
I think you need to bring in the people who are like, I think 4.3 would be the kind of the sweet in that range.
But like also like a 4.3 with this like 16:9 aspect ratio.
No, I think a 4.3 with a really svelte, really lean, like edge to edge kind of situation going on.
Yeah.
But 16:9, whatever. I don't. That's like to me is a non-issue.
I like the taller screen. I like it. I like the one thing about the iPhone 5 I like is it is taller. It's not too wide. But also like that's such a good aspect ratio to me. You get.
But I was looking. I was looking today, by the way, when we were coming over. I was with Laura, and I was illustrating what it would take. By the way, I mean, so here's a notification coming in over top of my stuff. But here's an even better example. So here it is over top of the browser. It's gone now. But this is how much room. You can't see this, but literally, let me just pull it down. Okay, you actually have it zoomed in. This is how much room you would need to make the notifications not cover stuff. It's that. I'm not kidding. And if a notification comes in, hold on. If one could just come in, somebody tweeted me right now. If only somebody were tweeting at me right this second. But that seriously, like, do we really need? There's so much you could do in that space, and then I wouldn't have to hunt. Or by the way, why doesn't it just push down the content instead of covering it? Does anybody know? There it is. Okay, look. That's how much room you need right there. I don't know what this is saying, so. Okay, you just texted me. Yeah. Look, that's it. That's all you need.
No, you're missing mine. Mine's pretty.
Why not? Look, why cover? Why do that? Why not just push it down to right there? Okay, this is to people who are listening to the audio.
Yeah,
you're
really crazy.
You're having the worst experience ever,
or the best.
Now everybody's tweeting at me. Just like I'm getting like a ridiculous amount of.
All right, that's enough.
I don't understand it. I understand that it's taller, but you can't. You're not allowed to make things taller for no reason. Just showing me movies. Right. In proper 69 is like, I'm sorry, it's 4-inch screen. I'm only watching movies on this like, in an act of desperation. Right. Okay, this is not the movie device.
Yeah,
no, I think it's a good size. I think the amount they boasted the screen would make a difference. It doesn't make a huge difference, but it is an improvement.
Can I bitch about something? You always talk about AirPlay, how great AirPlay is.
AirPlay's amazing.
I downloaded something. I downloaded a movie on my computer.
Yeah,
and in order to AirPlay it on my television. Yeah. I had to like get this intermediary app called AirVideo, which like takes it and converts it, and then lets you
have
like
Mountain Lion on your computer.
Yeah, but Mountain Lion just is mirroring.
Don't you have iTunes on your computer?
Yeah, but it was an AVI.
Just convert it into iTunes.
Oh yeah, just convert it.
That takes like 2 minutes. I do it all the time.
It's a terrible situation. You should be able to open your player, and there should be an AirPlay button there, and it should just shoot that out to the TV.
OS 10. Yeah. I agree. Yeah,
I mean, it's ridiculous the way they do it.
If QuickTime could do that, it'd be great. But otherwise,
that's what I'm saying.
Just get it in iTunes.
No, but you have to convert it.
It's a much simpler step than AirVideo.
It actually isn't a simpler step because what AirVideo
you keep doing this.
Okay.
And,
what AirVideo does,
we're swapping Ross for.
I want to make sure I'm using the right app.
Tagging
name.
You out.
It's actually great. Goodbye, Ross.
That was the worst high five ever.
Thank you for joining us. Wow, that was loud.
Yeah,
it's called AirVideo. What it does is that you set up a server on your computer.
Everyone loves AirVideo.
But you know, it's
the people they love the AirVideo.
Apple should be doing AirVideo.
Yes,
but without this, whatever. What does it matter? Why am I complaining?
What does it matter anyway?
Well, no one's listening to me. It's clear.
Yeah.
I told you to make the weather icon active. You know,
the only things that are. I'm like, this next Nexus, if it's any good, I'm going to switch.
Oh, switcher.
The only things that are holding me back are AirPlay, which I think is fantastic. And now iMessage actually works across. You can send from your phone number from the computer.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
I'll tell you what's awesome is getting Google Voice messages and getting them on your notifier on Chrome and being able to listen to Google Voice.
Yeah.
You listen to your voicemail while you're like browsing.
I don't listen to voicemail because I live in the future.
You and Nick Bilden?
Yeah, I don't.
Oh, you read a book. How you doing?
Pierce, David.
Dave Pierce.
Dave
Pierce.
Dave P.
It's weird to hear you call me Dave.
Dave.
Does anybody
Lots of people call me Dave.
Who?
All my friends
bros?
from high school, and my mom always
Frat
hated
bros?
it. People would call me Dave, and my mom would be like, actually, his name is David.
Lacrosse players?
Mostly the cross players.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're into lacrosse. You like Tim Armstrong.
All right, so let's move on to news. David, now that you're here, let's talk about something you did too. The chairman of the FCC spoke at our company this week on Tuesday.
That he did.
And
A weirdly vague statement of nothingness.
so here's what's really
What is up with politicians?
This is some backstory. So we asked the readers for questions and comments, right? He's going to give a speech. Our CEO, Jim Bankoff, gave a little speech. And then they said, we really want Nilay to ask some questions. And I thought, well, I've asked him a lot of questions in my life. It's live. Let's have the readers ask him questions. So they read the comments, and they had a sense of like what questions would come, right? And so they came and they said, he hasn't addressed AT&T and FaceTime. He's ready for the question. And you can ask it.
Sorry,
it's going to be great.
I just saw your tweet.
My tweet was really menacing.
Just so you know, I don't mean to interrupt Nilay. I know you guys love that, but Nilay's tweet was, "I have a knife under the table," which is really scary stuff. Go
anyway, so they know, and so I get up there, and it's my turn to ask questions, and I'm like, well, the number one question from our readers was AT&T and FaceTime. What's going on, and do you think it's violating net neutrality? And he goes, well, there is an impending complaint, so I can't comment on it. And I was like, why? Why all the buildup? Like, okay. So then he's a politician, so I didn't realize. So I followed up, and he said, if there is a complaint, and it went right over my head the first time. If there is a complaint, and the AT&T and the individuals involved can't resolve it, the FCC will exercise our authority.
Oh, we have a clip of that.
Yeah, he said, well, the FCC will exercise our responsibility. Let's play this clip.
See this clip? Genachowski.
They did not point punches. So the number one question that we've gotten, the iPhone 5 just came out. It's a big deal. Along with it, Apple released iOS 6, which for the first time enables you to make FaceTime calls over cellular. Now, the only major restriction on mobile carriers with your open internet rules is that they're not allowed to block other voice and video calling services. But AT&T has blocked FaceTime on iOS 6, FaceTime over cellular on iOS 6, unless you get a new plan. And the readers, they all want to know. I mean, do you think this is a violation of your open internet rules? Have they found a loophole?
I like that he's just smiling at you.
Well, this is, we're going to continue to have disputes and issues that arise under open internet framework. This is one that could very well come before us in a formal way, so I shouldn't comment on specifically. I think there are reports that there may be a formal complaint filed, but let me make a couple of general points. One is the best way to resolve
we can. This goes on for a long time. We can
over.
Don't we want to see his answer?
If you can find the answer after
the internet should continue to roll
out. This whole thing honestly kind of felt like he just talked in circles.
I'll tell you what I'm most impressed by that I didn't realize first time around is Jim Bankoff is pulling off a patterned shirt with a patterned tie.
Yeah,
he's making it work.
It's a good look.
Very hard.
So
I actually had a tie on before I came over here. I took it off for that very reason.
So anyway, TC was there, and we got off the stage, and he had said, if after all this stuff, the best way to resolve this is in the private market. But if that doesn't work and there's a complaint, we will exercise our responsibility.
Yeah.
And I was like, was that a threat? That's a threat, right? That's a threat that if AT&T doesn't figure this out, that the FCC will do something.
Yeah.
And then we went back and we actually watched the video again to make sure he said it. We talked and we're like, oh, it's like politicians speak.
Yeah.
Like he didn't say it, but he said it. That he wanted to say that. So it sounds like to me the FCC he's saying this is a violation, and if they don't figure it out on their own, we'll do something about it.
I think he was basically saying we need a complaint to take action.
Yeah.
And when there's action to take, we will take it.
Yeah.
Well,
but
it's very political. Very political.
It's like I just wasn't. I'm used to just being directly
straight talk.
Yeah.
You used to ride the Straight Talk Express.
Yeah. But I'm used to being like Nokia. Why don't you provide your products? And you go, Nokia's like, our products are great. I'm like, I understand that. Okay, that's a lie.
You're giving me.
And now I'm gonna go figure it out. But this dance with the politician, I wasn't.
He's very good. He's very polished when it comes to. I mean, I was a little disappointed. I mean, not disappointed, but I would have liked to see him say something a little bit more meaningful.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing he said that got picked up actually by a variety of really intense right-wing publications.
Reason?
Reason.com.
That's my favorite.
He said when it comes to net neutrality and stuff, we've learned from decades of experience the FCC has to be a cop on the beat. They have to make sure the telecom providers don't like abuse.
Yeah.
Right. And they
Rush Limbaugh, eat that right up.
People went nuts. FCC justifies additional regulations of the internet.
Yeah.
In the comments.
I don't get the libertarians or the Republicans who are like, I mean, unless you have a financial interest in these companies, or a financial interest in with their lobbyists.
Yeah.
And that's the only justification I can figure, because why else would, as you, the consumer, you are a consumer as well.
Yeah.
Your base is, most likely they're all consumers, unless they're the super rich.
Yeah.
And then they're just special consumers. Like, why wouldn't you want these companies to make the internet more open and
right? I mean, it's
free.
It's a utility,
because they're not going to.
And and the history is there, right?
Yeah.
The history is when you lock down the service layer, the devices that connect to it, that there's innovation that happens there.
Yeah.
Verizon isn't out there doing great apps.
Yeah.
Verizon. Verizon didn't make Twitter.
At this point, I'm fine with everybody building their own networks with the one point of creating interoperability and allowing people to where we're at now. I was talking to Laura about this. It's
Laura's very smart.
We have a lot of conversations.
She out go.
Is she out there? I don't think she is. She went
was.
to Sephora.
Oh.
Why not? That's where I'd be right now if I. I was like, this is like buying a computer, and they're like, okay, what Wi-Fi do you want to be on? Do you want to be on AT&T's Wi-Fi or Comcast Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
Or I can't even. It's like you have Wi-Fi in your house. You're gonna be on this one network of Wi-Fi, and you can't switch. There's not a good analogy here, but the point is, it would be it's like at this point buying a computer and being only able to use it on one band of Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
That's owned by somebody, which is crazy. Like this phone with scuffs on it does as much as a computer now.
Yeah.
We can't do it the old way. It just doesn't make sense. If you're talking about a dumb phone or a landline, it has one function.
Right.
Hello?
Well, it's funny.
Are you there?
That's not true. So that's absolutely not true.
Well,
the phone, the physical device of the phone only had one function.
Yeah.
But because the FCC made a rule that said AT&T couldn't prohibit people from plugging whatever they wanted into the phone system.
Right.
There were fax machines and there were modems. There was a massive market of dial-up
That's
internet
a good point.
access.
That's a great point.
And that market was crazy, right?
I mean,
people were giving away access for free.
But at some point in that industry,
I used to work at a little ISP in Racine, Wisconsin called Inc.net.
I worked at an ISP a little ISP in Pittsburgh.
Really? Were you the guy who had to reset the modems when they failed? Because I was 15 and that was.
I did customer service.
Yeah. Oh, God. That would be the worst.
I get customer service.
What is wrong with you?
I did late night customer service. The calls were awesome. They were awesome. People were like, "How do I get?"
Spilled beer all over my router.
The calls were.
They had no routers. They just had modems.
No, man. The calls were amazing. They were like, the internet is gone. And it's like the whole internet. That's not good.
Yep. Right.
And it was like your computer's not on.
Right.
Your modem's not plugged in. It's crazy stuff.
I was saying, we're at a point now where lack of effective regulation has taken us from a situation where we had dozens and dozens of ISP competitors in the market fighting for lower prices and better service to 4.
Right. And
barely 4.
And I guess my point
T-Mobile doesn't.
I guess my point was in the early days of telephony.
Yeah.
Telephoning.
Yeah. By the way, Julius Genachowski says entrepreneur, which is
that killed me.
Secretly Canadian.
I didn't know what to do.
There was a point where it was just about and it was a monopoly that had to be broken up by the government. What's happening?
Somebody just said when you picked up the phone at your ISP, you yelled at them, "You don't know what I know."
It was like, "Hello, customer service," and then they would tell me their problem, and I'd scream, "You don't know what I know," and slam the phone down. I don't think I was a great customer service person.
Yeah.
Who knows? Do I strike you as the kind of guy who'd be good at customer service?
Yes.
Do I strike you as the kind of person who would help you with your problems? Do you need help? Call me now.
Yeah.
We haven't taken calls in a long time, by the way. Maybe I'll have some people call me with ISP problems right now. If you're having,
if you lost the internet, call Josh.
If you're having problems with the internet, call me now. I can help. 888-418-5787. 4074.
But this
Call
is
me with your
actually
internet
happening.
problems.
So-
Small problems, big problems. I can help you.
All right. Let's move on to
By the
what
way, I
David
don't
did.
charge you unless you get on the internet.
That's crazy.
In which case, I begin charging you every
right.
month, and there's
So
no
we're-
opt-out.
We're going to try to do something new. We're going to try to talk about two topics. Well,
I don't know if we're
you want to
actually
do
taking-
Nooks first or cameras first?
Let's do Nooks first.
All right. David did broke some
Nooks,
news.
hey, Nooks and cameras.
Nooks and cameras.
Like kind of like Nooks
The
and
Nook
crannies.
camera?
Like Nook and
Nooks
crannies.
and-
Nooks
nice.
and crannies.
Nooks and cameras definitely sounds like an indie rock band.
No, it doesn't. Sounds like a facet of the Thomas English muffin.
Wow.
God. Yeah, I had one of those this morning. But anyway,
The Vergecast, brought to you
Nooks.
by Thomas English Muffins.
Talk about Nooks, man. What happened to you?
We get a
So-
call? You got a call coming in?
Are we fixing somebody's internet right now?
I don't know. I assume
Nooks, then
Nooks.
calls.
Talk about Nooks.
So Barnes & Noble launched 2 new Nooks this week, and it was great. We went to this like 3-hour-long event. I went with Billy, one of our video
How
guys.
smooth that is.
And
There you are.
we sat basically for like a 2-hour presentation of Barnes & Noble telling us why they're better than Amazon and all the reasons. And then it was like every...
They're like, and another thing, like Amazon, they're rude. Like they're just weird
they're just
people.
a bunch of
They're always like when you're at a party with them, they're like, oh, excuse me, and they like push in front of you to get a
Yeah.
drink. Like, think about that when you buy your tablet.
I mean, I'm sold. That's all I needed to hear. No, but so...
Oh, and another thing about Amazon, like their tablets are like they slip out of your hand.
They
just slide
literally
out.
they said those
Yeah,
exact
you're trying to
words.
use it,
like
you just-
literally those exact
Shut
words.
up.
I kid you not.
Are you serious?
I was like, you can't even really hold it. And then she was like the big plastic bezel and was like, oh, it's just so comfortable
Look at
now.
this. You just wrap your hands around it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something Amazon doesn't do for
I
you.
do like that white one.
It's nice. The thing is like,
Oh, and another thing. we don't put ads on the lock screen.
Yeah.
okay,
Did
but
they say
the thing
that?
is, the ads on the Kindle Fire HD are the worst. They're the worst.
I like them.
They're-
I love advertising. Just lay it on me. You want me to buy the Avengers on Blu-ray? No problem. Swipe.
Done.
Swipe to buy. That's what they need
Done.
to do. They need to have a second unlock that's like it's like unlock in one direction to unlock, unlock in the other direction to buy it now.
And the buy one is just marked unlocked.
Dude, I'm not even kidding. That would be. They would make so many additional sales. Like what?
And then people throw their Kindle Fires out
Well,
the
it's the
window.
Avengers. Pretty good.
Yeah.
I just watched it, by the way.
It's a solid movie.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I hate: movie theaters. Hate them. Goodbye. Good riddance.
Let's talk about the Nook.
Let's
All
have
right.
the Nook. You know,
Let's
we're
talk
not
about
about
more
the
about
Amazon
movie
guys.
Yeah. Huh?
The Amazon guys are always like breathing really heavy. Like when you're hanging out with them, they're like, "It's like who's that? What's that breathing noise?" It's like them like nitpicking. That's in my.
No, that's kind of what it
They're
was.
like they have a lot of like small problems. Do we have a call?
There is one on hold if you want it.
What's
Well,
it
we
about?
should
Do you know what it's
finish
about?
talking
Let's hear
about the Nook.
It's about the ISP.
Okay.
You use tech support.
We're really getting into this. Is the
Yeah.
Vergecast now.
Yeah, and
Go
so
ahead.
Barnes and Noble, I mean, they've had this crazy back and forth with Amazon for forever, where like one of them will release a product and the other releases the exact same product and calls it almost the exact same thing.
Yeah.
and just like back and forth and back and forth. And I mean, this is that. This is Amazon has tablets.
It's
Look at our new tablets.
TikTok.
right? And like they look good. They're really nice. The screens. They made a
The
huge
interface
deal.
looks-
The screen
the interface
looks
looks-
laggy as hell.
It looks horrendous to me.
Well,
I mean, the
okay,
interface
so-
looks nice, but the touch response seems just like it's like they're testing our patience or something.
No, it's brutally laggy, and like
Wow.
and what I mean, they made a big deal out of it being pre-production software, and like the guy
David
we were
Pierce
talking
says
to,
brutally laggy.
the guy we were talking to was pointing out, he was like, here are all the things that suck, and like when they know that makes me feel at least a little bit
Yeah.
better about like maybe they'll fix
Yeah.
it. He wasn't trying to like.
I mean, this is
he was
like,
apologizing for
look
it.
at how
other than,
far
like, pretending
behind the
it's not
book
there.
is on this video.
Yeah.
Like, look at this drag. Oh, I mean, have you ever used an iPhone?
Yeah.
Like one thing you got to say about iOS, man, it is buttery smooth.
Right, but that's not fair. Like this is pre-production. Like these, you can't buy this yet for a reason.
I don't care.
It's
When
the
I
software.
saw pre-production versions of iOS, it was still buttery smooth.
And you're really
Write that
knifing
down.
Google with
I
that
know.
buttery stuff, man.
Oh no, I think actually Jelly Bean and ICS before it made a big improvement.
Yeah.
But these guys are putting this heavy skin
Right.
on it, which is not optimized and is laggy.
Right. I mean, it's ice cream sandwich, but it's like
No, I understand that,
unrecognizably
but
so.
ice cream sandwich
That's not
doesn't
really
get
a skin.
Ice cream
They've got,
sandwich or
like,
Jelly
redone-
Bean doesn't.
No, I
get-
mean they're doing what Amazon did. Like this isn't Android.
if you,
It's
but
just-
it's like saying like I bought a really light car, but I put a bunch of bricks in the trunk.
sure.
You know, like your car's light, but you,
Right.
you loaded it up with bricks.
Right.
So
I do like the idea, and I think this is great. I like the idea that there's now open competition to make the best displays. Because that hasn't been true in the industry for a long time.
I have to say,
and like the fact that like Apple, Amazon, and now Barnes & Noble are like leading tablet displays.
Well, and that was the crazy thing was Barnes & Noble made, like, in the same way that Amazon gave this kind of technical demo that we'd never heard before, Barnes & Noble's whole presentation to us was like aggressively technical.
I'm surprised. The resolution of the 7-inch is 1440
by 900. Yeah,
so that's it's like the resolution of a Mac.
I mean, it looks fantastic. It
Pretty
looks
crazy,
really, really
actually.
good.
I will say this: I've discovered that I've become really accustomed to reading on a tablet, and reading other like besides reading a book, reading like on e-ink and stuff, seems kind of not right to me.
I'm super excited for the Paperwhite Kindle to come.
Yeah.
Me too.
Ordered it like instantly.
Me too.
And like a bunch of people on staff did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, did I tell you the story that Becky took my Kindle and now Amazon thinks I just have the weirdest taste in books?
No, that's like when Joanna. Now I have like the worst Justin Bieber books in my in my Amazon account. When I was reviewing the original Fire, like Joanna took it for a couple of hours, and like immediately downloaded Justin Bieber like magazines and books, and now they won't go away. Like you can't get them out.
Also,
here.
Netflix is useless for me because I let my parents use it and my niece and nephew.
You're like, I don't remember being at this point in the Girls
but
with Dragon Tattoo.
So it's like no, it's like Bollywood movies. That Netflix thinks I love Bollywood movies, and it thinks I love Nickelodeon shows.
What if?
Me too. Mine's like Scooby-Doo and PBS.
I want to give you.
It's just not the correct mix of content.
What if you were logging into your Netflix account and you discovered that like what Netflix really thought you loved was like erotic films, like lots of erotic movies, and like and they were all stopped at like the potentially the most erotic point of the movie. You like resume playing, and it was like some real nasty stuff. It was like the Red Shoe Diaries. Like your parents were just watching. Like
that's the most erotic thing you can
Well, I don't know. 9.5 weeks. I mean, what's erotic that you can get on Netflix?
Let's not go down this road. What do you think?
Let's take this call. Let's take this call. Caller, you're on the air. What is your name and what is your ISP problem? Did I do this right? I'm not hearing anything. Do we lose them? Oh,
hello.
Yes, hello. What is your name and what is your ISP?
Hey,
What's the most erotic movie you can
Brent,
think
and I'm
of?
Gattaca.
I don't. There is a sex scene in that movie. I don't think it's that
great
erotic.
answer.
But good answer. Good answer. Solid answer. Go on. It is
kind of a snuff film.
not really, but well,
Yeah. I like
anyhow.
that movie because, like Jude Law, I am also genetically perfect, except my legs work.
So you're so
you got that.
You're
going
better
for
than
you.
Jude Law.
You got that.
Sorry,
happening.
Jude Law.
Sorry,
so
Jude.
tell us about your ISP issue.
Well, I'm just curious what power the FCC has to give us back unlimited data and maybe crack down on this throttling nonsense. Like, I live in a group house, and my internet is constantly getting throttled because we have 8 people on one connection, and it becomes unusable pretty much on the dot every single day at a certain point. I can't take it anymore.
So I think what Genachowski was saying was, what he actually said was, there's a role for government to play here in providing effective service to people. We need to make sure that the country has to be leading the world in broadband. But he said it's not no touch, it's light touch. So I think his whole thing is, it sounded like he was totally in favor of like broadband caps and tiered pricing and monthly data and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And I think what he would say to you is the market should offer you a product to buy that can support 8 people on one connection.
Right.
And the problem is that they're not offering that product to you.
That's right. They should say. If you're paying $25 a month and you expect all 8 people to have like full bandwidth at all times, like maybe you're asking a little bit more than what is like the value. But if it's like, well, you pay $100 a month.
Yeah, I don't know how much you pay.
Yeah, we don't know what your plan is.
But that would
True,
be, I think.
But we can't find a tier that supports us all.
You need to get commercial internet.
But what I'm saying is that's a market failure.
No,
right? Because if there was real competition, there would be another provider.
It's like how many households
are
are there with the parents and the kids? It's like 4 or 5 people all on. The kids are using it for school or porn downloads. The parents are using it for porn downloads.
Erotic Netflix.
They're all streaming Red Shoe Diaries.
Yeah. And then the one kid's watching Gattaca. Where's the sex scene?
Presumably.
And like I was going to say, it's 8 young professionals, so there's a lot of porn downloading.
Yeah, of course. That's all that's happening. Professional porno actors.
Right.
But research. But I think the answer is, well, I believe that there are people at the FCC, maybe Genachowski feels this way, where they think that there needs to be some kind of intervention. The question is, like, between the lobbyists and the power these companies have, when is that going to happen?
Right.
Like, all they have to really do is say, well, we can't do that. You know, we don't have the bandwidth. We don't have the infrastructure. We haven't built it yet, you know? And so they can say, we need to charge a premium for this stuff, or we need to throttle because we simply can't do it. And some of that may be very true. Some of it may just be a huge lie.
I think, so I agree with you. I think a lot of it is a lie from the cable companies. They don't want to give you something that they don't have to,
right.
And they don't want to give you anything that you're not paying for. And that's just where we're at.
And I think we need to be, as citizens and users, we need to say, like, we are willing to pay for it.
Yeah.
Within reason. I mean,
I'm
willing to pay for
But the thing is, like,
great...
we've now, particularly in mobile, we've gotten to the point where Verizon's shipping iPhones that are unlocked. You can, like, walk away from Verizon and put an AT&T SIM in it.
Not LTE.
Can you get the LTE?
No, I think you get the LTE. I don't think you
can,
actually.
That's the same band. It's 700 megahertz.
No.
No.
I don't think you can do LTE.
Anyway,
Ooh,
Verizon doesn't
another
care.
question. Are the Sprint iPhones unlocked?
No, the Sprint ones aren't.
Nope.
So Verizon,
They don't want you going anywhere.
Wow.
the prevailing theory that Chris and I are working with is that Verizon has to, because the spectrum they bought required them to ship unlocked phones, and Verizon just doesn't care.
But they're not doing that with their other LTE devices.
No, they're not. They're just the iPhone.
Well, what's up with that?
Nobody knows.
That's bull.
Nobody knows. It's very hard
That's
to figure
BS.
out. But you know what it is? Verizon doesn't care. You know why? Because they've locked everybody into a 2-year contract.
Also, they're a monopoly. They can do whatever they want. Nobody says anything.
Nobody's
to them.
going from Verizon.
I mean,
to
literally,
AT&T.
like, if you're Verizon, it's the greatest. You can just do whatever you want. I mean, I'm surprised they're not charging for FaceTime over 3G.
Oh, they're all saying no LTE.
No, that's what I said.
Yeah.
I know and they know. You know who doesn't know? You know. You don't know what I know. And you don't know what they know.
Have you tried resetting your modem?
Is the power cord plugged into the back of the modem? Do you see a blinking green light?
Yeah.
All right, we got to move on. Thank you for the call. And
Later, dude.
hey, listen. To solve most problems, I would just power cycle the modem and the router.
Yeah. All right, can we finish talking about these
All right,
Nooks?
I'm going to call Leo Laporte now and see if he can help.
Tell Leo
Yeah.
we send our love to him.
He's a screensaver.
Goodbye.
Finish the Nooks.
I mean, there's
You know the thing about the Amazon guys? They're like,
No, we're gonna get through the Nooks.
they always have to leave right before the check comes.
Yeah. Oh, that does burn me about the Amazon guys.
I'm kidding. This is all from my mind. I just want to be
From
clear.
your
This
personal experience with everyone at Amazon.
What's the disclaimer?
No, dude.
Don't listen to anything.
BZ loves to dine and dash.
Similarities to actual persons, living or dead, maybe are purely coincidental.
That's my new children's book, by the way. BZ and the Dine and Dash.
All right, go.
Wow. I mean, I don't know. There's not, to be honest, there's not that much to say. It's like the Kindle Fire HD, but like slightly better built.
No
and
cameras.
This is another.
Well, so this was the great
you've
thing.
Got to pick a life.
At the very end of our chat, William Lynch, the CEO of Barnes & Noble, sat down with us for like the big reveal, which was the price, and it's super cheap. It starts at $199.
By the way, I imagined him. This is what I imagined actually happening: is that there were like some things on a table with small cloths draped over them, and the big reveal was him personally lifting the cloth off.
He just blew them off. He's
Like, let me. Do that. All right, go ahead.
And one of the things he did was he went through this like little slideshow. It was it was adorable. And one of the things he had was a side by side with the Nook HD, which is the 7-inch one, and the Kindle Fire HD 7-inch. And it was like, has ads, checkmark for Amazon, nothing for Barnes & Noble. And he's literally just going down like burn. And then he gets to camera, and he was like, well, Amazon's has a camera. That's
Nice.
all right. And I was like, does anybody want a camera, do you think? And he's like, nope. Pretty sure nobody wants a camera.
That's amazing.
Well,
you know what the problem is?
And he
I mean,
I
I
was
think
like,
for
that's
Skype
fair.
calls, I don't see why.
Like I've complained, I've said in reviews before, like get rid of the camera and charge
you don't
me $20
need you don't want
less,
the
and,
camera
like,
on the
I'm
back,
down.
but I think a front camera makes
I've
some
definitely
sense.
seen far too many people trying to like take pictures and videos without ads at this point.
I mean,
like it is an actual problem in New York City.
I mean, I just
Yeah, it
think
really is.
I just think if you want to look
Bloomberg
like
gotta
a
get on that.
huge dork, You know, no one can stop you. This is America.
I'm just saying, if Mayor Bloomberg can regulate the size of a soda in the city, he can make it illegal to
I
take
think
a
it's
picture
actually
with an iPad.
more pressing
Yeah.
for him to regulate the size of what you can use to take a photo with. Like, it has to be a certain, like, if it's a certain size, it has to
Anything
be an
over 7.
actual,
Yeah.
it has to be a camera.
A gigantic camera.
It has to be like a Hasselblad or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
like,
like
you
a
can't
big
just
medium
Yeah,
format.
you can't exactly. You can't just like have a big like iPad.
Did we just accidentally transition the camera? Oh, we are. But
Camera.
I did want to say, Amazon spent the entire event talking about the iPad and competing with the iPad.
Yeah.
Barnes & Noble spent the entire event talking about competing with Amazon.
They talked a little bit about the iPad, but it was mostly about the Kindle. I mean, and I got to the end of this thing, and it was like, you know, if you already bought into Barnes & Noble and you already have a Nook or whatever, and lots of people do, they've sold really well.
Yeah.
So
Do
if
they
you-
have percentages?
Yeah, I don't. They didn't give me numbers.
Well, I mean,
but like, they've shared-
Amazon says they have 22% of the tablet market.
Yeah, I don't think they're anywhere near that in the tablet market.
Are they 10?
I honestly, I don't know.
I don't think they're 10% of the
No.
tablet market. You know, everybody I know with a Nook is either like a mom or like a crazy hacker who is rooted.
But the
Oh,
Nook,
yeah, they're like,
like,
I put
Yeah.
stock ICS
but like the
on it.
e-ink Nook, I see those everywhere.
Yeah, I see
like
those
they've
too.
sold a lot of those.
Yeah.
And
Probably a lot of
if you
impulse
have
purchases in
that,
the
this is a
store.
great device. Like it's the best thing they've ever made, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But if not, like and the thing they lost to Amazon by being a month later in their announcement is like all these people already pre-ordered a Kindle Fire HD. And by that, once you go Amazon, you're never going.
you
back
can't.
to
No,
Nook.
you got
can't.
to pick an ecosystem.
Right.
Gotta
Pick
pick a life.
Like I would like to buy. I would buy one of these before I would buy a Kindle, except that I have a million books and I'm a Prime member and I have movies and like I can't leave Amazon stuff.
Just a big warm hug from Jeff Bezos.
Basically.
Yeah.
I it's a problem.
And
I
I asked about Prime and they said they're actually thinking about doing something similar.
Are you allowed to say that?
I mean, he didn't say. He said it's something we're looking at. We are very interested
Prime
in
is.
it.
I mean, I'm sorry, but like the problem is that Amazon has everything,
Right.
and Prime is just this killer service. It's like anything I want delivered to my house for free.
Right.
Yeah.
Like anything I need. I mean, I order all kinds of crazy stuff. Like I'm out of deodorant. Well, I'll just Prime it. Like, you know, there's a Dwayne Reed 2 blocks away. Like I can just walk to it.
Right.
There's no reason why I should be getting that shipped to my house.
No,
But
you
I
want
am
to
one of the
I am
things-
getting
burn
it
some
shipped to my
gas.
house. That's right.
One of the
I'm
things
like,
that-
fly it in, get it on a truck, have a guy get on a motorcycle off from the truck.
One of the
I
things
just like to point out that no matter what we do or say,
Yeah.
our readers and commenters and listeners will argue about Windows Phone. That's what's happening in our chat right now.
I just want to say,
They're
listen,
fighting about the HTC Windows 8
Listen.
over the Nokia 920.
Just look, if you're a big,
That's just
if you're
what
a
they're
big Windows fanboy, Microsoft fanboy, and you like think that we are anti-Microsoft or something, like you don't have to read the site. I'm giving you permission now.
Yeah. No, they're
you-
not arguing about us. They don't care about what
Oh,
we're
they're
doing
not?
here.
Oh,
they're
that's
arguing
fine,
with each
that's
other.
fine. Stay there.
They're
Don't go
fine.
anywhere.
They're
Don't
just,
you go anywhere.
They're just busy talking about the 920.
No, but like,
and this actually leads me right.
But hold on, I will say something. These guys,
We're all going to segue to different things.
No, I know. I do want to say something about these guys. They pop up in comments constantly.
Yeah.
They're like they have the most incredible. They're like fucking mutants. Sorry, I have to say this. They have the most incredible ability. You know what their mutant power is? They can make any conversation about the Lumia 920.
This is a perfect segue.
It
for
is
me.
incredible to me.
All right,
They're like,
so-
no, it's like, okay, I interviewed Alan Mullally from Ford, and I found, and it's actually a game that I play, which is, as the character of Alan Mullally, you say anything to me, and I find a way to make that go back to talking about Ford's new cars and how fuel efficient they are. Okay, but.
about
These
that weather?
these people have this ability, this uncanny ability. You can be like, man, I just had the most delicious sandwich. They're like, you know what's more delicious than a sandwich? The new Lumia 920. And by the way, if you don't agree with me, death to you and your entire family. It's like, how did you do that? Like, I was just talking about, like, I was thinking about taking an hour early today to go home. Like, somehow the conversation has turned to the Lumia 920.
You know what you wish you could do when you got home is play with your
Is, you know,
Lumia
you gotta
920.
boot up, but you know, you get in, get out, get on with your life. It's like, I don't understand.
So, there's a perfect example of this.
Segue.
Today, we ran 2 reports about Photokina and big trends in cameras. David wrote one of them, and how all of the camera companies.
Oh, you know what's a big trend in
They're
cameras?
scrambling.
The new Lumia 920 sensor, the
That's
floating
it.
sensor.
First huge comment thread. The Lumia 920 is going to destroy the camera industry.
Yep.
Because it has
I'll be
optical
honest
image
with you, you have
stabilization,
my-
which I would
everybody-
like to point out is an old technology. Like,
Editors
they
of-
just moved it to phones.
Editors of The Verge, you have my permission to just delete those threads. Right, if you see them and you don't like them, because honestly, like that's you need to be relevant.
I mean, the thing
you need to be
is,
on
like-
topic. Don't be coming in there with some Lumia 920 business.
Yeah. By the way, someone has just, and I would say,
Tried to step through our comments.
As threatening as ASCII text can be,
Yeah.
someone has written, "Enjoy writing that 920 review, Josh."
I'm gonna enjoy
over
it.
your
Hey,
head.
hey, you and me, Lumia 920, we got a date with Destiny, and I'm gonna enjoy the hell out of that date, and I'm gonna get everything I want out of the date.
Are we going to
Wow.
talk about
that
cameras?
date?
No, we're not.
That date is going to go all night long.
That's so weird.
into the morning, and then I'm gonna
Stabilized.
make you breakfast, Lumia 920.
Can we just stop now?
Has
Can we just
had
go?
such an edge of violence,
I love it.
like
Hey,
weird sexual
it's
perversion.
It's a volatile time in America. You got the bad economy. You got
It is.
Mitt and Barack at each other's throats.
Mitt
Nilay
Very.
has a knife under the
Tea,
table.
do have knife.
tea Party, liberal elite,
Ooh,
libertarians
yeah.
coming in from the side.
Julius trying to regulate everything.
Genachowski up in your piece with the regulation.
All up in my piece.
All up in your piece, regulating. Genachowski, get this in your mind. Genachowski rolling, regulate on the stereo. What kind of car is he in? Here's what I think: Chrysler 300C.
I showed up in an Escalade.
And an Escalade.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it. All American.
That's a strong move right
All
there.
American.
Was it like
You know
a
what?
white
No, I asked.
Escalade?
I was like very curious when because his
Tinted windows.
his advanced people were there. I mean, he's like
Yeah.
high-ranking
Yeah.
government
Yeah.
official. So his advanced people were there, like making sure everything was good. And I was like, he's on his way. And I was like, what kind of car does he show up? And he's like, it's generally an Escalade.
You know, that makes me,
Well, I
you
guess
know,
it is.
thinking about the
Boss
Escalade
move. Yeah.
reminds me of the great new line of Ford cars and the ultra fuel efficient.
Oh my God.
You know what
Yeah.
would take great pictures of those cars? Is the Lumia 920.
Can we?
I mean, and a fuel efficient vehicle, a green vehicle like the Ford Focus Electric deserves.
Have you seen the Lumia
it's
920 in green? It's
photography.
Oh my
amazing.
God, the
Photography.
green is so bright. Yeah.
That's a good point.
Are we going to talk about the camera
Synergy.
thing?
Nope, I'm
That's
done.
ad
You're done?
synergy right there.
Can I just? David
that.
wrote a really great. We had two. One was you and one was Sam, right?
What's going on in,
Right.
in the discussion?
And
right
Vlad did a great one about connected cameras too.
Okay.
From
So there was like, I just want to point out the camera industry is like actually at a big inflection point.
yeah, it's like it's a really
Like, it's
exciting
a-
time for
it's
cameras
either
for
going
the
to
first time in
die.
a long time.
It's either going to die.
Yeah.
I mean, these people are crazy. They're still talking with the Lumia 920.
I mean, this is you guys are. I mean, I know it's like 30 of the most dedicated. You guys are
no, I love
so.
them.
you're
And now they're just doing it because they know.
so crazy. But I like that.
Yeah.
Keep it coming.
All right.
We embrace the crazy. And then once it's embraced, we like throw a straitjacket
Right.
on it before it can do anything, and we lock it away
Yeah, we embrace it to hold it still.
to hold it still,
And
and
cage it.
then the straitjacket, get it injected with some tranquilizers, throw it into a padded room for a long time till you shake that 920 out. Shake the cobwebs of the 920 haze out of your brain.
I don't know that we're going to do the camera.
I have almost no idea what's
Let's do
happening.
Let's do the cameras and make this thing end.
All right.
Let's get this.
Well, no, so
let's
here's the
get-
thing.
is
So
there
phones-
anything beyond the cameras?
No.
Oh, thank God.
So phones like the 920 have good cameras. I mean, this is your thesis. Like, smartphones have great cameras. That has a great camera.
Yeah,
The iPhone 5.
it's pretty good.
Well, you don't need a $200 point and shoot.
Nope.
Like that
No.
is no longer relevant.
Nope.
So there are.
No.
What are your trends? You,
I mean,
you
so
do this. This
as-
is
as-
your reports.
As best I can tell, and from what I've seen and heard from talking to companies, is that like as the trend line goes up for smartphones, it's going down at basically the exact same rate for point and shoot
Yeah.
cameras. Because as soon as you buy an iPhone and you're like, well, this is good enough.
Yeah.
And like for all the pictures you don't like really care about and want to frame and keep forever and show everyone you've ever met, like it's fine. It takes great pictures. But what that's doing is also saying, like, manufacturers are also realizing now that most people just want to take fine pictures, right? So they're
Good enough.
good, right? It's all the good enough
The
stuff. and
netbook of
especially-
it's the netbook of pictures.
right, exactly. And so
It's
what
the
they've-
iPad of pictures.
And what's happening now is there's this big gap between like pro level stuff and my smartphone, and all the stuff in the middle is kind of dying. And so what's
Right.
happening is like Sony is kind of at the front of all this, and they've built like the NEX series,
What's the new Sony that I want bad? That's like 2,000, 3,000.
the RX1,
RX1,
which is
That's
the
my
size
new-
of a point and shoot, but it's a full frame camera.
That's my
and
best.
it's
That's
gonna
my-
take
ridiculously
unbelievable pictures.
expensive.
That's my new
It's
piece.
$2,800.
I'm buying one of
Ridiculous.
those.
It's gonna be. I mean, it
Is it
looks
worth
incredible.
it? Should I buy it?
I haven't actually been able
I'm
to
buying
touch
it. I
one
can't
yet.
afford it, but I'm going to buy
No,
it.
Sony
anyway.
does this thing where they show you an amazing camera, and then it's like the distance between it and the boundary of the glass box it and just gets ever shorter, and then they ship David one.
Yeah,
Like that's literally how it works.
about
It's
what
like you're
happens.
4 feet away, and the next time you see it, you're like
Yeah.
an inch away, and then David just has
then I have one, yeah.
it's very annoying actually.
No, and
I
like,
never just have.
I don't know what that means.
It's
at
like
all.
so like the RX1, they showed it in a huge glass box.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And then like the next time you see it, the glass box
it's a
is a little
smaller
bit
glass
smaller.
box, and then it's like you're holding it.
Yeah.
I see.
And then
You're
one
like, how do they?
appears on my
Where did the glass
desk.
box go?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want that camera bad.
But so what's happening with these cameras is these like really expensive features that they have to make a case, even with like, you know, a mirrorless camera. They have to make a case for like, why is this so much better than your smartphone to be worth paying
Right.
you know, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Wow, they really are over
for a Leica. That's what Leica
Yeah.
charges. It's fine.
No, God,
and
what is the new Leica that we just covered? That is so.
M.
the M, it's
Yeah, another full frame.
Oh my God, do I want it?
Yeah.
I don't know why.
You love camera, like you just like
I
buying
don't.
cameras.
I don't even like cameras. I hate them. No, I do. Here's what I want to have one. You know, I actually had the GF1 for a number of years, and I love it. And I have an LX5, which is basically like a Leica. It's like a cheaper Leica.
So you know,
The LX5 is a
no, it is. It's
the
it's
panty
whatever
version
Leica,
of yeah.
Right.
So
But
here, the thing
I want
about,
like one. I want something to replace the GF1 that is more compact and takes better pictures.
Lumia 920.
yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yes, that's right.
Well, so, you know, before I know why you like cameras and any rational like gadget person.
Yeah, I
likes
need a
cameras.
camera.
It's because they're one of the few devices where when you take all the buttons and switches and knobs away, they are crappier.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like, if
Well,
you're
I-
like a gadget nerd,
But-
you really like. I mean, there's like they have moving parts still.
Yeah.
They have to be.
I would actually
engineered
prefer.
well.
I
But
actually
then-
prefer for cameras the more moving parts, the better. I actually find hunting around in menus to be maddening when you're trying to.
But I think fewer and fewer people agree with that. And it's like we have all these people now who are being kind of weaned onto photography by their iPhone.
Right. We're
And so
like-
the
it's like-
expectation is not I have
yeah.
a million buttons for everything I want to do. And that's why like the
it's like
Galaxy
MP3s.
camera is
It's
really
MP3s
interesting.
and records. You know.
Yeah.
You can talk all day about how the great sound of vinyl, and you have your vinyl, and you get a really good turntable and a really great stylus and blah blah blah, and your preamp, but like people are like, well, my MP3 sounds pretty good on my iPod.
Well, and not only that, I just press play and it does a thing.
Yeah,
I don't,
right,
There's
right,
not 40
right,
steps
right.
involved.
But that's
try
still
moving.
point
Try
shoots.
moving those MP3s.
But I'm saying like if you get, and I think this is where this trend is coming from because the two pieces we saw were the full frame cameras.
Yeah.
Can we get an image of these up, by the way?
Yeah, we should get the Leica.
Can we see the Leica? I'm
the-
going to like do this camera. After
Well,
my
no,
date
I mean,
with
like
the Lumia
the thing
920.
is like, so the full frame thing is like, how do you respond to sensors and optics and smartphones getting better?
Right.
Like you put your middle finger there, you put a full frame, like an enormous sensor.
Right. The
in a
answer is
camera,
no longer
right?
like we're going to make it a little better because people don't care. It's like we're going to literally blow
Yeah.
your mind
Yes,
open
look
and
at this.
here's the only chance we
And
have.
then
Are
the-
these are interchangeable, right?
Yeah, the M
But
is.
this is how big is this camera? Is it like
It's
micro four
kind of
thirds
huge.
size?
It's
Yeah.
about. I mean, it's about the size of the GH2 sitting
Oh, that's
here.
too big.
It's not.
That's too big.
Yeah.
I need a smaller. There's another. What's the
It's
other?
a
The
Leica?
Sony
RX1.
one.
The RX1
No,
is,
no,
is
but
a point and shoot.
they announced, but that's a fixed lens.
Right.
They announced another. Leica had another camera in this series in this release. What is it? Is that it right there? Show that picture.
yeah,
That's
that's
not
the
that
M
big.
again.
That's
Yeah,
the
it's
M.
the same in
Yeah.
size as prior.
There's Vlad Savov in the background. He's
Handsome
like,
man.
this is fantastic. That's not the way. That's not the way he sounds.
Well, no, so it's either you make a huge sensor,
Right.
And then what's funny is on the opposite end, Sony, Olympus, they're all completely disrupting the small DSLR market by saying we can give you DSLR pictures with these small mirrorless things.
Yeah.
And Canon and Nikon like don't know what to do with.
What's so weird is that Sony has. I mean, Sony makes the lens. I think for the iPhone, don't they?
They make the lens. They make all the sensors. They make
Yeah,
all of.
it's so-
Sony
what's
makes
so-
optics for like everyone.
What's
on
so
the planet.
crazy is that like
And
Sony didn't
sensors.
capitalize on the optics more on their phones. That they weren't like this
Yeah.
is where we can
well, you
have
know,
an edge.
I mean, somebody.
Stringer said that. That was like one of the last major things he said about Sony before he left. He said, "Why are we giving our best sensors to Apple?" So you would expect that maybe.
I mean, money would probably be the answer to that question.
well, no, but he meant what? But that was before Sony.
no, I know
Ericsson was
he
like
meant like
folded in.
figuratively. But
Yeah.
literally, probably
was
because
cash,
it was
like,
for
'cause they sell
it was
them
a
those
valuable.
phones.
It was a very valuable business decision.
But so, well, I think what you're saying is like, yes, most people are fine with their phones,
Right.
but I think that the huge market for cameras is once you get more people taking pictures and being like, I want to make great pictures.
Yeah.
They're gonna want a real camera, and now what we're seeing is the real cameras are becoming ever more. Like I think these Android cameras are all gonna fail because I think why would you do that instead of a phone? I think the phones will catch up with those cameras very fast.
Oh, you mean
Yeah,
the
I think-
Android-powered point and shoot?
Yeah, Nikon has one, Samsung has one.
Like the Galaxy camera, I got to play with it for the first time at Photokina, and it's actually great. But I don't know. I can't think of a reason anyone would buy it. Because I mean, it's the same thing. It's
and all these cameras with Wi-Fi have totally failed. Like nobody wants that thing.
well, so I think it's a useful feature. Like
For who?
But like I've used an iFi card in a DSLR, and it's the best.
I think that it would be nice if all these cameras came equipped with Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I mean, and that was one of the
honestly.
other things we saw a lot of. And Vlad wrote a
But
great
the
piece
M
about
doesn't
that.
have Wi-Fi.
No,
I wouldn't
and
dream of it.
Like we asked them about that, and he literally the answer was like, just shut up. Like our design, it's beautiful. We don't have to do anything.
Right,
else.
we're
like
like
that was
that.
the whole thing. It was
Have you
great.
seen my body?
That's like literally what
Have
it
you
was.
seen it? Have you gazed upon it?
I think, and
He's
I
like,
get
well,
it.
if it wasn't brass, we couldn't do it. And we're like, well, just make it not brass. And he's like, but it's brass.
Do you understand? What is it that you don't
This is
understand
Leica.
about this?
It's brass.
Is it brass?
It's brass.
God, I gotta get one. They're so expensive. Like it is like this total like lust.
Yeah. No, it's-
I don't need it.
In like 6 months, Panasonic will have one that looks just like it.
no, it'll be like a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
well,
like
yeah.
just gonna concurrently release it.
Pull off the Leica
Yeah,
logo and
literally. I should just get
be
like
like
the
$400.
Leica logo.
that's a good idea. Just get stickers.
But yeah, that's a Leica.
You know, it's a really good camera. It's the Lumia 920.
I mean, it's better than all of these
Made
cameras
of
put together.
brass.
It might as well be.
Yeah.
All right. I think
That's
I think that's the Vergecast for this week. Do we not cover anything? Any audience questions? Any reader? Any
Should we
chatter?
remind people to make
Chatter.
GIFs?
This is a great photo. I got you guys are wearing the exact same color. Those shirts look to be identical in color.
Yeah. Well,
at
one's a
this.
hoodie.
Guten Tag is all I have to say about this. Guten Tag.
I like. Can we go back? I like the lady in the red in the back. Just why?
She's not a fan.
Just looking-
She's not
just
impressed.
looking at Jordan
We need like
taking
She's like,
we need like
she's
Michaela's head.
do
over.
not do not take my picture.
German lady is not impressed.
Any reader questions?
They all
Any-
want. Look,
They want to know what the Lumia 920?
they all want to know if we saw this video that Engadget did of the iPhone 5 and the Lumia 920 shooting video. You know what? Can I say something about that video? I watched it. You know what it looks like? It looks like the Lumia 920 takes shaky CMOS Jellyvision video. Sorry. Like, cool. That's great. It takes cell phone video. It's marginally less shaky than other cell phone video.
I didn't see it, but I will say that I hope my expectations are high for the Lumia 920 that'll
Yeah.
take really great pictures.
I have the stills thing. I understand. Like,
Yeah.
optical image stabilization,
No, that's a huge
totally
deal.
proven technology.
I mean, the iPhone 5 does have excellent low light performance. And actually,
But-
in my review, I forgot to add a bunch of low light pictures. Like when we were doing the gallery, I kind of like, I just somehow like blanked because
Yeah.
it does have good low light performance. And I have photos like that look great in low light. I took one last night. It was like almost pitch black in the room. I wanted to take a photo of a tag of a towel
Yeah.
to remember it. And it worked great.
No, I mean, look,
Let me see if I can find
like
that.
optical image stabilization, like it is.
It's the real deal.
It's not like a magic trick. It's very much like physics. Like
Right.
you hold the shutter
This isn't
open
the,
longer, and you reduce camera shake,
Right.
and you put more light on the lens, and it takes better pictures in low light.
I mean, and like this,
It's like
Dark-
great. I'm
from
really
a dark-
happy they
from a dark room.
miniaturized this technology.
That's
that,
like in a dark room.
Panasonic has had
look at
for
that-
10
look at that
years.
detail.
And every
But
point
from-
and shoot in the market has.
well, that's the problem. Is from what we've seen, like we did a test too in Central Park, and like that's a nice picture, Josh.
Yeah.
Isn't that
Good
great?
job.
And now these are really nice towels, by the way, in case you're wondering.
But so like it's I have no trouble believing that the Lumia 920 is going to take better photos.
It's
than
gonna take
any-
great
than
photos.
any camera phone ever. Like I totally believe that. But the thing is there's still a giant gap between that and a really crappy point and shoot. And like until that's not the case,
I agree.
I don't care.
But I don't think. I think that. I mean, I will say that in particularly daylight, well lit photography, it's getting really, really hard to tell now.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Between like, I mean, even and I'll say this: the Galaxy Nexus has one of the worst cameras ever. The worst. Terrible. But in bright daylight,
Yeah.
it is capable of producing excellent results.
But the thing is, like, if I want to take a shot where like Nilay's in focus and you're soft, like I can't do that
Yeah, you
on
can.
a phone. I mean,
yeah, right here, man. Right here, baby.
Eh.
Boom.
Yeah, how many different apps do you have to use for that? How many
Right.
how many
Instagram.
circles of bokeh
You
do
need
you have
the
to
you need the
Hold on.
Jordan Opplinger workflow for
Let me,
that,
take a, let me,
which
let
is
me try
crazy.
to take a photo here. Oh, my notification popped down, so it's like really hard. This looks really like it's. Oh my god, it's doing some really weird face recognition.
It's doing some really weird
it's
face.
focusing on both of you.
Again,
Of course
sorry.
it is.
It needs to
See,
stop. Can I
It's
turn off-
optimized to
Can I
do
turn
that.
off facial recognition? You can't.
No, of course not.
Stop doing that.
No,
Right.
it just works, dude.
Hold on.
It just works.
This is not working at all.
What's the opposite of just working?
No, that focused on you, David.
Okay, I feel like you just
Are you
kind of made
kidding
my
me?
point.
I was
pretty well.
moving.
Are you
That's
kidding
the worst
me?
photo ever.
It's so bad. Hold on.
God.
Let me try this.
Again,
This is
apologies to everyone
So
listening.
good for the listeners.
Yeah.
Josh is now holding a camera.
It's like not. It
His
will
face
not-
looks
Still
frustrated.
holding
Dude, it's like it doesn't want to focus on Nilay's face.
He's tapping the screen furiously.
it. He's wearing a very cool fuel band, though.
yeah.
Does that work?
Oh wow, that's gross too.
Now let's take this into Instagram. I'll just jump it out to. Oh, I can't just jump it out
God,
to
how do I look
Instagram.
hungover after one beer?
You had 2 beers actually.
It's because you're married. now.
Well, yeah, it's true.
For
I'm
the,
old. I'm
did you
still
say
old,
it's
man.
because you're married? I don't like the insinuation. What are you saying about married people?
I don't know.
Oh, this is the worst. Look, I got a camera roll.
I feel like my point just
Okay,
gets made
yeah, that's
better
the-
and better here.
Yeah. Okay. Are we done?
Yeah, I hope we're done. I want to be done. Well, that's the Vergecast for this week.
Should we tell people to make gifts?
If you'd
That's
like to
us.
get- if
Oh,
you'd-
we should talk about the giveaway.
Oh yeah, the GIF off.
Can we put some of the gifts on the screen behind us? Yeah.
Here you
There's
go.
some really choice ones.
Here you
I don't
go.
know how we're gonna pick.
There, how's that look?
Ooh, that looks bad.
Let me
Instagram though.
Let me expand this. There. Perfect.
The thing about Instagram's like fake depth of field filter is the totally hard cutoff. It's like,
yeah.
like that's not how that
There
really
you go. That
works.
looks pretty good.
That looks terrible.
Everybody, take a look.
Good
Where
is not
it?
the word I was
Yeah.
looking for there.
Thank you for that moment.
It's,
Mel.
it's like.
Is
what
it weird that
what are you
my
looking at?
immediate reaction was that you looked like one of the lions from The Lion King?
I do.
Just then?
Everything the light touches is your kingdom. Just letting you know.
Noted.
Some of
Okay.
these are choice.
This one's
amazing.
great.
Yeah.
I really like this one a lot. So here's the deal. We're doing a GIF off. It's do a GIF based on the last Verge on the Verge, and you will win. You could win a Ford Focus Electric.
Yeah.
Do you understand? It's like a $40,000 car.
You know, and I'm thinking about
Make it
taking
if
all.
and
You
of
are on the hook for taxes. If
I'm
you
thinking
win
about taking up all the stuff that we're supposed to give away, and putting it all in the trunk as well.
we may
so
put
if-
some stuff in the trunk for you.
You're interested in several old Rokus.
Yeah.
Man.
But here's
There's
what
gonna
I
be
say.
thousands of thumb drives.
Here's what I
It's
say.
gonna be
There's,
incredible.
there's
So
some,
many thumb
There's some
drives.
good ones in here. There's some bad ones. This one's great.
Just Brian blinking.
Yeah, this one's really
Yeah.
good. Where's the one?
I think the butterflies. I think
The
is my favorite
butterflies
so
is really
far.
good.
I don't like the butterflies one. This one's.
Yeah, there's a lot about you being sexually aroused.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm very aroused. What's this?
I haven't seen that one.
It needs to be animated. Do you understand? Oh wait. Oh, go back
Go
up.
back
Go
up.
back up. Go back up. Oh, okay.
That's weird.
Oh yeah. Keep going. Keep going. Again, great for the listeners at home.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna wrap up. Anyhow, you'll find it on the website. Go enter win a car. And this one's good.
This one's truly
This one's
amazing.
upsetting. Really upsetting. It's not good.
Oh wait,
Okay.
no, that's not the one.
It is the one. It's not the one? All right, anyhow. That's our Vergecast of the week. If you'd like to get in touch with us, you can email us at vergecast@theverge.com. You can leave a comment on the post when it goes up, or you can find us on Twitter. We are at Verge. Also, us as humans are on Twitter. I'm Joshua Topolsky. Nilay is Reckless. David Pierce is Pierce David.
You get mad at me about this
For reasons
time.
beyond explanation. Ross Miller is Oh No Roscoe, no E on the end. And Dieter is Backlon.
Yeah.
Oh, but
Not
no,
lawn-
for reasons beyond
not lawn
explanation.
like you
for
know.
No, Dieter's planning a 5-part series.
No, don't talk about it.
It's gonna be nuts.
All right, that's our show.
Of books.
We'll be back next week with more of this. And as always, I wish you and your family a great weekend alone.
Paul.
Paul.
Rock and roll.